Hello and welcome to No Coffee with Karan, where you have no coffee, a Karan.
And a Dhruv and two motorcycles.
So let's get started.
So like any quintessential biker, I have been thinking about going to Ladakh for a long time now on a motorcycle, and recently the new Bullet came out. And what better company? I mean, you might have your ADVs and all, but the OG people, they did it on a Bullet, and I thought, why shouldn't I? But
I disagree. I think there's an old Sheriff which is still probably the best Sheriff for a quintessential 300cc cruiser, and that is the CB350 Harness. And I think this is the modern take on the ultimate classic Bullet lifestyle.
well, as you have it over there, I am in favor of the Bullet. Karan's in favor of the Honda CB350 Harness. Let's get started and figure out which one can convince the other that they're wrong.
I think my first impressions of the 2023 Bullet have been quite favorable. Thing is, once you walk away from a Bullet, you realize its flaws, but when you're around it, it has this aura about it, and the new Bullet just has brought out that old school charm which older standards used to have. And I gotta admit, like at the launch, I was kind of floored. Like I kind of fell in love with the Bullet lifestyle, the Bullet culture. There are no carryover parts from the old Bullet. This is all new, but like this is the bike which we all grew up loving.
Keeping that in mind,
Yeah.
why did you choose to decide that the Highness would be a better companion on a road trip to Ladakh, say, or for that matter, in an everyday riding city proposition as well?
Because again, I walked away from it and then I thought about it. The CB350 feels better in terms of performance. It has that modern retro look in spades. This looks old school, this looks retro. What were your first impressions of the CB350? Because you picked this up and you were riding this around for a day and then you jumped onto the CB350.
You remember that ulte pair wali Bullet? The transmission was on the other side.
Yeah.
The first Royal Enfield experience was of that. So I mean, there was something about the ability to be able to ride a Royal Enfield, which instantly clicked with me. Now, call it machoism, call it whatever, call it the adrenaline coursing through you, call it achieving something that is not easily achievable by other people. I think the Bullet always had that kind of a feeling for me that if you rode a Bullet, people thought about you and you thought that about yourself, that hey, you know what, I can do stuff, I can move heavy weights around, I can climb mountains. You know, it evokes that kind of a feeling in me. Now, coming back to the CB350 Highness over here, I will say this, it is definitely a well-engineered motorcycle. I don't think it has the character to keep you engaged on a long road trip. I think the Bullet has that working in its favor, although admittingly still, the exhaust on the CV does sound better than the Bullet. I think the Bullet's thump has been
And you
stolen.
walk away with less vibrations.
Yeah, I mean, see, again, that's what I'm saying. It's a damn fine motorcycle on its own. I'll give you that. I mean, if you had to buy this, there is nothing that would stop me from telling you, okay, wait, don't buy this because of this. But if it comes to keeping you engaged as a rider over long distances, that is where I think the CB is lacking. And that is where I think a lot of the people who want to buy bikes like this is a big part of them. They go out on their motorcycles, they do day trips, they do road trips, they spend 15-20 days on these machines, and at that point of time these machines need to speak to you. I think the Bullet does that better, but let's see if I can convince you of the same.
Okay, now let's first quickly sum up our impressions of the design. And
Yeah,
let me start with the Bullet first, because this is the part which I was kind of regretting.
I think this is the part where it feels like it's built like a gun.
Yeah. Dude, like this is just the ultimate like pen and paper motorcycle design. If I had to give an like a excited, happy, enthusiastic 5-year-old to draw a motorcycle, this is what he'd draw. Like everybody can recognize this. It's the essence of what a motorcycle should look like.
The Bullet is the design that every other motorcycle design is looking up to and is trying to compete in this segment. The Honda, I think there are individual bits about this design that you like the fuel tank.
Yeah.
Individually you like it. The alloy wheels also for that matter. Individually you like them. The headlamp also, it's got a neo retro thing going for it. Individually you like it. But when this motorcycle comes together as a sum of its parts, and I'm talking about design over here, I think that's where it kind of starts to fall apart.
Honda does everything in its own right. It is function over form, and everything is engineered rather than wanting to impress. But
Yes.
this is where I have redemption, because we talk about now,
Riding these motorcycles.
yeah, ergonomics and quality basically.
It's surprisingly, it's the Royal Enfield that's the most sportier.
Why do you say that?
Because, okay, so I was riding the Royal Enfield first, then we switched motorcycles and I sat on the Honda. Immediately the difference was, I went out of sitting on a motorcycle to sitting in a car. It's a very upright position where everything just becomes so upright and the seat's so soft that you kind of feel like, and you're sitting quite high on the CB350. Good leverage, everything, you have good visibility, all of those things are in your favor, but it's not that quintessential motorcycling riding fashion or riding body position that at least and I think a lot of people have come to prefer over time. So that was there. It was, I will say this, super comfortable. I think that was not a problem in the CB350 that I can say. As you say, switchgear and stuff, quality, yes, I think it's better than the Royal Enfield for that matter.
You start to say you don't want to talk about features,
No,
because you know who has the more features.
yes, you have more features, I'll give you that. But as I was saying, so the only concession on the Bullet in terms of that instrument cluster is this new small an LCD display, and we both know it just gives you that fuel bar information and I think your odometer or something.
Yeah.
And that fuel gauge, Royal Enfield, please fix this. It doesn't work on any of your motorcycles. So coming back to it, despite all of that, I think the switchgear on the Bullet works fine. It's from this newer generation of motorcycles. Or quality has gone a step above.
So for me, let's start with ergonomics first. I was riding the CB350, and it feels like they've tried to match cruiser touring motorcycle with an everyday street motorcycle. So you sit up top, and here I feel like I am controlling unsprung mass, whereas in the Bullet, I felt I was trying to maneuver the entire motorcycle just with my feet.
In one go.
Yeah, so that it works because you sit a little more hunkered down. You sit in the motorcycle, whereas on the CB350 you sit on top of it, and that is just perfect.
I'll just add one more thing.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, Karan. See, on the Bullet, you're kind of sitting a little lean forward, and that is generally how you sit on motorcycles. On the CB, it's just like you're sitting very straight. I think that's my only.
You
thing.
can adjust that, but yeah,
I mean,
from the factory, this is where I'd like to cruise, and this is what I'd like to live with. That's what I came to my conclusion with the ergonomics. And when you talk about features apart from the traction control and the turn-by-turn navigation, the biggest feature which this has over the Bullet is the LED lights. The LED lights on this are quite powerful. So this has been brought into the modern era, whereas this just had everything going it from the start. And
all the working bits were new
Yeah.
and all the looking bits were retro on this motorcycle.
Yeah.
Here everything is pretty much retro.
Yeah.
I think apart from the engine, and I think we do need to come to the engine, Karan.
now
Now,
we come to
got more important bits to talk about.
performance.
Yes.
Okay. You want to go?
And I'll start by saying this. Both of us were riding these two motorcycles yesterday. In terms of performance, I think there's a night and day difference. Despite the fact that we were on the highway and none of us could break loose from each other. I mean, we were sitting at what would be the top speeds of this motorcycle, and you would say the speed limits on the highways, on the respective highways. I think we were pretty much sitting at top end cruising speeds of these motorcycles.
Yeah, 120.
And in that essence, I think I at least felt like the Bullet just to be better, say, especially at making quick passes.
So I'm surprised that the Bullet had a better spread of torque,
Yeah.
whereas the Honda CB350 in the first 4 gears you felt like you're in the meat of that power, and the fifth gear just felt like overdrive maximum. You lost all that oomph from it as
I
soon
think
as
that-
you clicked it into fifth.
I think we all know that Honda's mantra with this motorcycle is to make it a more easy motorcycle, right?
Yeah.
I think they've done it in that interest because that fifth gear, yes, it is overdrive, but that brings more refinement.
Yeah.
And which it didn't need in the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
place, but it brings more refinement because when you're cruising, you don't want to be buzzing all the while, which the
Now,
Enfield
of course,
does.
like this brings a better mix because the first 4 gears will serve you very well in the
Even
city.
then, like the bottom end power is not too convincing on the.
Yeah, you have to
Bullet.
ring out
Yeah.
the CB350.
Like you have to. I mean, okay, this is not a Honda motorcycle. This belongs to a friend. That's from Royal Enfield.
Okay, wait, full disclosure.
Yeah.
Now, this is working in my favor, that's why I'm telling you. The Honda CB350 belongs to a colleague and it was recommended to him by the autoX team.
I mean, different times, different motorcycles. The Bullet had not come out then. Yeah. Because we were riding the motorcycles and when you're testing them, we didn't want to really ring it out. But unfortunately, on the CB350, to understand what all the motorcycle can do, you do kind of need to push it because a lot of that power is higher up. Which, I don't know, man, why have they done this on a cruiser? I mean, and obviously, like the Bullet engine has never liked to be stressed out. In this area, I think
That's
it's
her.
not better than the CB for sure.
But they've come a long way.
A
That's
long,
They've made
long
decent
way. I think
inroads
this
into-
J series engine is doing wonders over here because even when I was sitting at like 100 kmph on the expressway, I was pretty close to what this motorcycle can do in terms of top speeds. Anything beyond 100 is when I was feeling like, okay, maybe I'm putting too much pressure on the engine. And in terms of not in that moment, but in terms of an extended riding duration, say if I was riding for 2 hours, I wouldn't want to be sitting at 100, 110 on that motorcycle. I would probably come down to 90 because I think that's where its sweet spot would be. Those kind of speeds you can on the Bullet as well. I think both of these motorcycles
this
are very
I
evenly
felt
matched.
because of how it's geared, it felt much more pliant when I was doing 120. The vibrations
Yeah.
were still bearable.
That's the overdrive kicking in
and,
basically.
and what I'd like to point out is that the mirrors.
Oh.
So why I could also do that because I could very well see what's around me. I could see behind me. This is just lines.
This is
It's
basically,
scribble.
yeah, okay, the vibrations, you don't feel them, but
They do translate onto
I
the
mean,
parts.
the mirrors feel them.
Yeah,
That's where I
mirrors
leave
are
it.
having an epileptic
If you are
attack.
in that range where the vibrations are at their maximum, there is no way you will be able to see anything that's happening behind you, at least in the mirrors. But then, I mean, you'll be going slow enough that you can do a shoulder check,
Yeah.
get away with it. I mean, come on, man, be a rider. We don't see mirrors.
Yeah, and then I'm a rider as soon as I get off as well. It's just like an old man. Yeah.
Called me up last night saying, dude, I'm still vibrating after
I was
all that riding.
Sore.
Yeah.
But that's
anyway.
also from a long day. Not everything
Yeah.
do with, but kind of had to do with.
I think one more thing. I think I love the transmission on the Royal Enfield more than I love it on the CB.
Yeah, it has a better click.
Yeah, it just snaps into place. With the CB, you're not hunting. I think there's just a little bit more travel than I would like
Yeah.
while riding this. And I think the clutch quality. Okay, this is not necessarily the clutch, but the levers. Okay, I'm sorry we didn't cover this earlier, but levers on while you're using, especially when you're using the clutch, like the CB just feels like a
Butter
toy.
I kind of smell it with butter. Like it felt.
No, the throw and everything's smooth,
Yeah.
but the chunkiness of the lever, right? I
Okay.
think Royal Enfield spoiled us because they give you these chunky levers
Yeah,
which
yeah.
you like you can drape your fingers around.
Okay, so I think with the Royal Enfield, yeah, you do feel that you're operating heavy machinery while pulling in the clutch, and then it clicks into place nicely. You can really like bang through the gears because, like the way it's built, like everything is like solidly built, and like it kind of negates that feeling that you're thrashing it. Whereas the Honda CB350, everything is done a lot more smoothly. So if you like really try to hammer through the gears, you feel like you're kind of abusing it.
Yeah.
So for me, I think the Royal Enfield brakes just felt wooden. So now this does get larger disc brakes and dual channel ABS and all the jazz of.
And the braking power is also adequate.
Yeah, but
But-
again, coming back to the manhandling nature, you just have to just
get on them.
it.
Yeah, you like let the ABS come on, let whatever happens, just get on the brakes. It will stop. It's just that you can't precisely bring it to a stop. I think that is something that takes time, that takes getting used to the motorcycle.
In what, like in terms of performance, which motorcycle you prefer?
In terms of performance, I think in the engine department, I think it has to be the Enfield. Transmission department, it has to be the Enfield. In the braking department, it has to be the CB. And I think when it comes to, okay, cornering is not a suit of these motorcycles, but I mean, going through a corner, I feel better on the Enfield.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dhruv Paliwal has just bought himself a Bullet, I feel. Because you're just going to go. So, I would prefer the CB350 and I would keep him around because I'd like to ride your motorcycle from time to time.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be sitting here on the top talking to some Scorpio guy. Yeah, hey, hi. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. That kind of.
Okay,
looks-
so what's your take?
So in terms of performance, the Honda CB350 is easy to ride. You have to understand where the performance lies, and it is easy to bring out once you know. So the engine, the braking, the handling. We didn't talk about handling. Now, as you said, this you do sit on top. Gets alloy wheels versus steel wheels. This is lighter. This is heavier. So this does feel a lot more easier to handle. Obviously, so where I would prefer the motorcycle, the Royal Enfield that is on the highway. Now, just in terms of ergonomics and in terms of the wheelbase and the weight, it feels more stable. It just tracks forward
I think
like
I think that's the suspension because I think the suspension is better balanced on the Royal Enfield. On this, it is slightly wavy, whereas you get that body on frame kind of a feel when you get in a car, right?
mass forward kind of position.
Yeah, I mean, it just tends to rock about a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's uncomfortable or anything, and the difference is not noticeable until you sit on the Bullet and you ride the Bullet. I think then you understand, okay, that is also an option. And I think holding like a triple digit speed on the highway, I felt more composed on the Bullet, and that is why I picked it in the handling department. It's not necessarily saying that it's going to be a corner cover or anything, which both these motorcycles are not meant to do, and they will not happily do this. But I mean, just flicking through lanes on the highway, just being more stable, just bar inputs, I think I just felt a lot more comfortable on the Enfield doing that, and that was a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's got that more balanced suspension.
Which one would you prefer as the touring companion?
As a touring companion,
Given the features, given everything.
I think it still would be the Bullet.
Okay.
Yeah. As I said in the beginning, the CB, easy motorcycle, not an engaging one. And if I'm going out touring, I'm going to be spending a lot of time with the motorcycle. I want to be engaged. I want it to throw a hissy fit. So that I can be like, oh, no, no, no. I mean, you get it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't want to.
I get you. I know you. That's why I get it.
So, I mean, that's the thing that I would say I would still pick it for touring purposes. Now, obviously, I would pay more weightage to the touring side of things. If I was buying a Bullet, okay, first of all, buying motorcycles like these for me would be, I would probably not ride them every day. This would probably, but a layman will. I mean, we cannot.
CB350 can.
Yeah, so I was coming to that. If you had asked me what I would pick for an everyday motorcycle, I would be confused because the Bullet,
Everyday motorcycle which can do touring.
which can do touring, it would be the CB. I mean, that definitely yes. But that's what I'm saying. The Bullet, the shortcomings are not short enough that I changed my decision. I think my choice of motorcycle
You're a Bullet boy now.
still remains the Bullet 350. Yes, I am a Bullet boy now.
Oh,
So Karan,
yes. So your verdict is
on the show,
yeah.
not coffee with Karan.
Not coffee
That's what we called it, right? Still no coffee. Producer? We have no producer.
We have no producer. We have no coffee. We have no producer. Okay.
Okay, we digress.
Yeah.
So Karan, have I managed to convince you that you should give up your dream of having the CB350 and become a Bullet boy?
No. I'm still with the CB350 because you're buying a Bullet and I'll just ride it whenever I want. But I will be a lot more at ease while riding. And at the end of the day, it's still a comfortable bike to live with even in terms of performance and even in terms of ergonomics. So my choice would be the CB350.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Wait,
After,
so you took pick the Bullet.
yeah,
We just wasted that time.
Karan, that seems to be becoming a theme with you.
Why are people wasting your time?
I think
I
Karan
don't like
likes to
this.
waste time. That is why the show is called not
Coffee with Karan.
And hopefully we do this again.
Yeah, I mean, I
Let us know
hope
in
we
the
have
comments below if
I
you
hope we
like
have
this
like a
stuff,
decisive
because to be able to do this again, we need your help. Let us know in the comments below what.
Yeah, you guys, why do you guys not favor me? You guys need to comment down below which one would you pick, and let's see which one
Karan,
wins.
I mean, it's okay. You won't convince the audience.
Will I?
This is India. The bullet rules.
Probably.
So show us some love. Hit that like button. Share this video with your friends because I know you have a lot of friends who love Bullet, who love Royal Enfield.
Want to go to
Honda
Ladakh.
also, CB50, and want to go to Ladakh. So this video is somehow going to help you in all of those regards. Subscribe to the autoX channel for more such cool automotive content. Karan, you want to say anything else?
Yeah, thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you for watching.